I want to, before we get really rolling and get the full intro going, I want to bring up my girlfriend, Kirsten, who obviously we all love, I love very much. We were talking about the home run derby yesterday. And she goes, oh, the HR derby, the horse race. I go, come again? She was going to take Gunnar Henderson thinking he was a horse.
Fair. He is a horse.
Fair.
You mean Gunderson?
Gunderson.
Gunderson.
I thought the picture you sent me the other day was of her, and then like I saved it to my phone. I was gonna post it, like just because she was wearing the merch on the Gary Williams social media. Yeah. And I looked closer. I'm like, oh shit, that's not her. I'm not gonna post that without like permission from whoever that was.
No, fire away. And I actually told the young lady's name is Morgan. We went to her cookout on July 5th. And she's totally fine with it. She don't care.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Gary Williams Stole My Lawn Furniture. Today we have our buddy CB in the building.
How you doing?
CB, if you want to introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, I'm CB.
Yeah, there you go.
That's CB. Huge Baltimore sports fan, one of our buddies.
I've been bartending around here for 22 years. And so I've known Ryder for a long time, and we talk about sports all day, every day. So he asked me to join, and I appreciate you guys having me.
Hell yeah. Awesome. We're going to talk some Orioles. We're going to get CB's thoughts. We're going to talk our own thoughts, get a little weekly recap. We always talk about the games we watched every week. And then we'll talk about the All-Star selection, some snubs. We'll do our That's a Shame segment. We'll talk a little bit about golf as we're coming into the last major, the British Open. And then we'll talk about the unfortunate passing of the Vikings fourth-round pick, Kyrie Jackson. And then we'll finish the pod, as we always do, with our snake draft. Today we're doing best stadiums for major sports only. So, yeah,
and
we'll start.
Active stadiums.
Active stadiums, yeah, no Polo Grounds, no, Herbert Humphrey Metrodome or whatever the hell it was called. Yeah, so we'll start with just the O's this week. We took 2 out of 3 against both the Mariners and the A's on the West Coast swing. Pretty good West Coast trip, I would say. What did you guys see in particular? Anything you want to talk about jumps off the page from the last week?
Stars off, CB.
Around the horn, we'll start with Brooksy.
I just said stars off, CB.
Oh, my bad.
No, we didn't hear that. Obviously, when you got to go to the West Coast, it's tough. The travel sucks, and you take 2 out of 3 every series, you win your division. And it's always good when you see the Yankees lose. And one thing I see, though, is Boston is really coming together. And so it's great that Boston beat the Yankees, but when we go to the West Coast and we win like we did, then we come back to the East Coast and everything's going to be cream cheese.
Cream cheese. Now, the one thing I'll say is, and we talked about this, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, going out to the West Coast stinks, and then coming immediately back to the East Coast and having to play. Are we in Chicago?
No, we're home.
We're home, so they're going to be lagged. They're going to be jet lagged.
And that's why we had the day off. So, a well-deserved day off today, and I feel like, we're going to come back to Game Yards and we're just going to crush them.
The one thing I'll say, I'm going to jump in here, is I liked what we did hitting wise. Obviously, the one day I'm going to have a throwaway day when we gave up 19 runs. That was pretty god awful, as we all know. But just everything else I saw was we were pretty stout. We looked good.
And then come the trade deadline, obviously we got to figure out our starting pitching with most of our starters out, and you can't rely on Corbin Burns and Grayson Rodriguez. So we got to figure that out. So we still got time for the trade deadline, which I think is awesome. So,
what'd you guys see?
Yeah, I think Grayson pitched great twice over the course of the last week. I can't believe he didn't make the All-Star team at 11-3 with a 3.5 ERA. I think maybe the couple weeks he missed in the middle of the season maybe kept him out of the running there. But I would imagine he's got to be at the top of the list as far as snubs are concerned. And we're going to be talking about snubs a little bit later. So I won't go too much into that. But he looked great twice this week. He had 8 strikeouts in both of his starts, went 6 innings at least. Just seems like he's always going to produce a quality start, him and Corbin Burns both at this point. I loved that Kramer pitched great in his return, 5 scoreless. Thought he could have gone a little bit deeper into the game, but I think they're just going to be careful with him. Don't want to push him, and I totally understand that. And yeah, like while we're talking about the West Coast swing in general, the bullpen has been pretty good, but just a couple of games where it just seems like it's going to completely implode, and we're just going to have to deal with it. Baker and Aiken in that Seattle game, just having just a completely terrible couple innings stretch. And then obviously, the Povich, Tate, and Irvin combination in that game against the A's it's just a weird game. We can throw those kind of things out, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much I'm excited about Brian Baker and Keegan Aiken getting innings as we get deeper into the season. So I think, as CB said, we're going to need to be trying to figure that out.
Yeah, like Dylan Tate sometimes, like it's not like back in 2014 where bullpen comes in and you're like, all right, game's over. Like you bring in certain guys, you're like, all right, let's see what happens.
Brooksy, what'd you see, man?
Yeah, I mean, even last year, I felt like the bullpen was. I mean, you get to the 7th, you're good to go. I mean, it's hard to complain. We just took 2 series on the West Coast. We're obviously exhausted, jet lagged on the way out. We're going to be jet lagged on the way back. I don't love. I mean, if I have to complain about anything right now, besides some of the stuff that you guys said. I don't love how we're not getting just our hitting with less than 2 outs with runners in scoring position is starting to bug me a little bit. It seems like it's starting to become a trend, and it's hard to. I mean, obviously, you score 8 runs against the A's, you expect to win that game, obviously handily, but that's one thing that's starting to stick out to me a little bit. Hopefully, it doesn't continue. And this could just be a feeling that I have. It just feels like it's starting to become a trend. And then on top of that, Povich has got to stop fucking walking people. It's driving me insane. I know this is a one-off game. He's a young dude. He's pitched relatively well since he's been up here. But in every game, and even the last podcast, I said he's got to stop walking guys. So that's bugging me a little bit, but other than that, can't complain. I mean, we just took 2 series. Yankees I think they've lost 13 of their last 18 or something like that.
Yeah.
They haven't won a series in their last 6 or 7 series. We haven't.
All their starters are just kind of falling apart too. Like Monso, Judge, like they not hitting. And like the bottom of their lineup's the ones that are hitting for the Yankees, which is kind of crazy. But in Verdugo, he sucks.
Going back to what you said, Brooksy, in regards to Povich and walking dudes, that's something else I'm seeing from our bullpen is we're falling behind in counts almost every single time. A lot of ball 1, ball 2, and then we got to start. Then you can start sitting dead red. And then Povich, obviously, like you already said, Brooksy, is just a little bit of a mess. Cano is terrifying right now. Him coming out of the bullpen, I'm afraid, is going to trip. So I don't. We need help, and we talked about the trade deadline stuff. Yeah. We need help, and it's pretty damn obvious at this point. We need help in the bullpen, and they have the second best record in baseball. So we're complaining about little minuscule things, but if you want to win a World Series, you got to button up some shit.
But I mean, if you think about like as far as your starting pitching, like we a lot of injuries, and so bullpen's a little beat up. So I don't think our bullpen's terrible. It's just they got to pitch so many more innings than they should. Like if we had our starting pitching that we started the season with, I feel like our bullpen just be lights out like they were last year. But
yeah, and
I never thought I'd say this statement in my life. I miss Jacob Webb.
Take it back. Take it back.
You guys miss
I miss
Mike Bauman yet?
I miss Danny Colom and his glove.
You guys miss Mike Bauman, who had 10 wins for us last year, and everybody was so pissed off, and we had to DFA him.
He's not pitching very well right now.
No,
Don't get
he's
Brooks
not.
going,
He's
man.
I mean, he's not pitching well right now anyway. So, I mean, just for some context here, I just pulled up bullpen stats. Well, actually, these aren't bullpen. These are all pitching stats. I can change this pretty quickly.
While he's looking that up, Suarez has been awesome, and just what a complete lucky thing that we felt, either lucky or great scouting, whatever, that we just fell into this like 33, 34-year-old dude that's been playing overseas, and he's just seems like he's 5 innings, 2 earned every time, and it's great. I love it.
Because his last outing wasn't great, but he's saving us. And he pitches innings. Like, he gets innings in and save our bullpen. Like I said, there's sometimes their bullpen's not coming in the 3rd, 4th inning, and they're getting tired. And it's the middle of summer where it's hotter, and you don't have all the strength that you had at the beginning of the season. And some pitchers pitch good. Yeah, some pitchers pitch better in the warm, some people in the cold. So we just got to figure that out. But Suarez was a great pickup, and who would have thought?
He's bridging the gap right now. I think everybody kind of went off. He had 2 bad starts in a row against the Astros, and then who was after that? So whoever his next start was. Maybe it was.
Maybe I can't remember.
But he had 2 bad starts in a row, and then everybody starts talking like, well, the Suarez project is now over. It's like, man, the guy has 2 bad starts, and we're giving up on him out of I don't know, what was our sample size at the time, like 2 bad starts out of 10 or something like that. And I'm like, this guy's been doing everything he can to keep it in line, and then after that he's given us a couple more good outings. I mean, all the guy does is eat innings. Nick, hold on, put this on the screen here. Nick Vote, is Bud Norris going to be available at the deadline?
Bud
Norris.
I mean,
shout out to
I saw
like our friend Terry.
I saw Wei In Chen was pitching in the Baltimore area recently in indie ball or something.
Really?
Maybe he's available.
That's awesome.
Man,
it was wiffle ball, but
wiffle ball. Wei In Chen, his best attribute was he didn't sweat ever. He never sweated. He was complete opposite of Freddie Garcia. But going back to Brooks' point, would you rather take Suarez right now or Povich if you had to win a game tomorrow?
Suarez.
I'm taking Suarez.
100%.
I mean, the guy just he fills up the zone too. So I mean, even if he's going to go out there and get crushed, he's not going to go out there nibbling. He's going to go out there and actually go at you, and you just beat him. So
like 2012, we put in Saunders when we had better pitchers, but he had more experience. So he put Saunders in, and we wound up beating Texas.
Yeah.
Didn't win the World Series,
kicked you Darvish's ass, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
Sean Floyd tells a great story about Dan Duquette. Because Floyd at the time worked for the Orioles. And he said Dan Duquette screamed in the box in Texas. I think we were played Texas that year, in that wild card game, and goes, "I just want a fucking playoff game with Joe Saunders."
I love it. He pitched great. Suarez is 5-2 with a 2.48 ERA. What a godsend! Eating 65 innings for us, coming in the middle of the year. I mean, just such a good pickup for us.
Because you kind of thought he was going to be like a middle relief kind of guy. And with all our injuries, he stepped up to the plate, and he's crushing it.
How long have we had him?
Who?
Picked him up in May.
Just picked him up this year.
Yeah, we picked up him. We picked him up in May. We didn't have him, I don't think, in spring training, did we?
No. We picked him up in the middle of the season because remember we had Julio Teheran a few times in spring training.
Oh yeah.
'Cause
Um,
he just opted out again, didn't he?
yeah.
He did.
Last
takeaways?
little negative before we go to the positives. Cole Irvin giving up 23 earned runs in his last 16 innings. This is not good. This is just not good. He was great at the beginning of the year, but he's really struggling right now. Hopefully he can find himself in the bullpen a little bit, but he did not look good the other day in that bloodshed of a game against the
No.
Athletics.
And I give him props too. Like he
No.
bridged the gap as well there for a while, but like there's been a sharp drop off really quickly. So
Once again, is this league adjustment? Do we think this is pure league adjustment stuff?
hard to say. I don't
Could
know.
be. It just could be a slump. It could be. Yeah, it could be people adjusting. It could be a slump. It could be both of those things in comparison. But yeah, either way, he needs to figure it out, find his stuff, or we're gonna have to be looking elsewhere. But we'll stop talking about negatives. We're in first place. We have the second best record in baseball. We're gonna go into the positives. We're gonna get into the positives, and our the number one positive I have right now, and Craig Kimbrell's last 15 appearances, he's given up 1 run. 14 and a third, 23 strikeouts, 23 out of 27 in save opportunities for the season, but he hasn't blown one in quite a while. In his last 7 innings, he's given up I think 2 base runners. He's pitching unbelievably well right now. And for the people who thought this was going to be an overpay, yeah, this is maybe it was an overpay, but it was a Band-Aid on a problem that we were going to have for 1 year because Batista's going to be coming back next year. And I think he's pitching great. And I can't believe he's not an all-star.
How do you feel about Batista coming back? So would you keep Kimbrell for next year? And you don't know what Batista you're getting back. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
would you sign Kimbrell for 1 more year and maybe Batista be the setup guy, or vice versa?
I think that's something that you're going to have to see what we do at the deadline. Like if we trade for Mason Miller, in theory, I don't think you'll see Kimbrell back next year. I don't think we'll probably do that, but I don't think you're going to have Batista, Kimbrell, and Mason Miller. You know what I mean? So if we get a high leverage guy at the trade deadline, probably no. But if we don't, then I would love to see him come back and be a setup man or a 9th inning guy if he keeps pitching like this.
It always makes me nervous, like when a guy after that kind of injury, and he was so dominant as a closer, is he going to be the same guy?
Yeah.
I think it's a hard question to answer based on the unknowns. Like, there's so many variables that could happen with the trade deadline coming up. And like Dusty was just saying, if you get a Mason Miller, you get another couple guys in the pen, you might not need to keep Kimbrell because it was a 1 year deal. Yeah, it was 1 year.
He's a 1 year deal. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he is the Band-Aid. I mean, look, Band-Aid is probably the best way to put him. So it's a hard question to answer, just because you don't know what the hell we're going to do with the deadline.
Yeah, it's I mean, would I love to have him back? Yeah, but I just don't see us paying him that much money to come back and be a setup man. And obviously, what CB, I get what you're saying. Like, if Felix comes back and he's not the old Felix, and he's for all we know, he's Mike Bauman getting shelled or something like that. Then yeah, I mean, then we're gonna have to figure that out for sure because we should know pretty early, hopefully. But I mean, it's also a big mental game out there. Another thing I wanted to touch on since we're on Kimbrell right now, Dustin said he's only given up 1 run in his last 15 appearances. 15 appearances. That's since May 10th. That is a long time. And I believe that was against the Nationals after he lost his closing job. So basically, once he lost his closing job, we moved him to figure out whatever shit he had going on, or if it really was a back injury that we needed to let him heal from. We also haven't been pitching him 5 out of 6 days either, like we were in the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and to add on some of those stats, he is like his career from 2010 to 23, which is his entire career up until this point to this year. His 2024 season, he's outperforming all of his Hall of Fame numbers from all those other seasons.
Really?
Yes, he's outperforming. So ERA, career from, well, I'm going to say career, but when I say career, I mean 2010 to 23. His ERA was 2.4. This year he's 2.1. WHIP is 0.99. This year he's 0.9. Hits per nine is career 5.3. This year 4.5. Walks is the same. Home runs is down by 0.3. Ks are down by half. Opponent average career is 166. This year they're 147. That's huge. OBP 260 career. He's 259 this year. Opponent OPS is 536. This year is 483. So
it seems like he's actually going to be a commodity come the off season to a team.
yes.
Even those numbers that you're and you know what? I'm not shitting on CB's point. I'm just kind of going into this. He's not going to want to become a setup man. He's going to be like, look at my numbers from last year. I want to be a fucking closer.
But
he wants to break.
He's a Hall of Fame closer. He's a Hall of Fame closer. He's not setting up for anybody.
Yeah.
But we have to
0.99 whip over 14 seasons in high leverage situations is insane.
Yeah.
But we have to remember as well that we have half of July, most of July, August and September left. So we still got a ways to go, but at this moment in time, he's outperforming his Hall of Fame career numbers thus far. And to Dustin's point about the All-Star game, complete bullshit, because the MLB is the one who selected Clay Holmes over top of him for the same exact role. I understand some of the other snubs that we'll get into in a second, because you can make the argument for the position stuff like that and the one per team and how that works. Yankees didn't need another guy. They have Judge. They're fine. They have a couple, obviously.
Judge, Soto. Yeah.
They obviously have a couple. So this was a pick that they did not have to make, and the numbers are just clear. Kimbrel's numbers blow his out of the water. So I just straight up don't fucking understand it. There's no excuse in this one.
Yeah. I feel like some of it is because Kimbrel started off so slow, like flew 2 games out of nowhere. You're watching that and be like, oh well, he sucks. But then you stop after he lost 2 games, crushing everybody in the MLB. I
guess, but this is the MLB, right? They should know this shit. And I mean, and just looking at stats side by side, and you sit here and take the names off, you're like, all right, Kimbrel's the guy. Like this, it just this makes no sense.
I hate him in Boston. I hate him in Philly.
I'm gonna go the same
thing, but
I'm gonna go the same thing. New York market, Baltimore market. They want the fucking New York market. It's for a small ball club, and I guarantee you, I almost guarantee that's the reason that Kimbrel's not there.
And they still have us, like the Yankees above us, winning the World Series. Like we got you by 3 games, and everybody does. Like it's bullshit.
Well, look, the thing you learn about odds makers really quickly is that they're not placing these odds on who they think is going to win. They're placing it on who they think people are going to bet on. You know what I mean? So they're going to give you worse odds on the Yankees because more people are going to bet on the Yankees than the Orioles. It's just that's how they're going to make their money.
That's fact.
Yeah.
I want to go to positives. Yeah, we're negative, man. This negativity, man.
We're in first place.
Let's go positive. Fucking Heston Kjerstad's kicking ass.
How about our boy Heston, last name redacted because I can't say it correctly. Homered again yesterday. It just seems like the ball jumps off his bat. I said this last week, but since he's been called back up this time, he's 11 for 30, 12 RBIs, hitting 367 since June 24. So that's, like a 10, 12-day sample size, something like that. Playing really good baseball. Absolutely love watching him play. He looked like I'll borrow a saying from one of my childhood people I listened to a lot of my childhood, Jim Ross, when he looked like he was running like a scalded dog when he was going for 3 yesterday, when he hit that ball off the wall.
Hungry dogs hit better, baby. All right.
I didn't know Jim Ross was going to get a shout out on the show today. That's pretty awesome.
No, we didn't. Yeah, we got a slobber knocker of a podcast going on.
We're going to have to mix in Jerry the King here before the end too.
Yeah, CB, what have you in particular seen from Heston in his first in his first few games back from the minors?
I'm going to lead this off here. I think plate presence. I always say plate presence, and then he just looks like he's more comfortable. He seems like he takes a lot of first pitches, which is kind of like maybe setting the tone for the rest of his at bat.
He's reading my notes.
Be real.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know if Brooks here, CB or Dustin want to go.
No, I was just saying, like Ryder said, I feel like he went to the hitting coach and was like, "What am I doing wrong?" And he's fixing it, where he's just more patient at the plate and seeing pitches, which I think the Orioles need to do anyway, because some people, they swing at the first pitch every time. Adley's so good at taking pitches, seeing pitches. Then you get the pitch count up. And then out of nowhere, your starters for the other team, they're out in the fifth, out in the sixth inning. They don't go 8 innings. So you got to see pitches. And I think that he really worked on that. And I think that's how he improved so much.
Yeah, I would echo Brian. He looks a whole lot more confident up there. And the biggest difference I see, he just looks like he knows the zone a whole lot better. He's not swinging, like you guys were saying, he's not swinging at a whole lot out of the zone unless he has to, and he's protecting. Timing looks great. Just looks super confident up there, and that's honestly all you can ask for. That's half the battle with hitting is just having some confidence up there. So that, coupled with just a better presence of and knowledge of the strike zone is we've seen it. He's done nothing but produce since he's been back up here.
I'm going to go on mute for a little bit. I got a trash truck right outside my house. I don't want to screw up the
You're good, dude. I echo everything you guys said. I think Heston's looked great. I think he looks a lot more confident. I don't think I need to expand on that any further. Gunnar, just continuing to do absolutely crazy shit. Fourth player in Orioles history to hit 50 home runs before he turned 23. He just turned 23, I think, like last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. The other three are Manny Machado, Eddie Murray, and Boog Powell. Those guys are pretty good at baseball, so pretty good comparison. Also, he's on pace as of right now for an 11.6 WAR. I know we don't love it. It's not the end-all, be-all is WAR, but only 12 position players have ever had 11 WAR. Little trivia time. Who do you think was the last player to have an 11 WAR season?
We haven't had trivia in a while.
No, we haven't done trivia in a bit. So I'll let CB go first with his pick if he has anything off the top of his head. I just wrote 2 down. You don't have one, it's okay. I'll go.
No, well, let's let it marinate. I got to think about it too.
I'm going to guess Mike Trout.
I will give you 2 thumbs down on Mike Trout. Mike Trout has had 3 seasons above 10 WAR, but never had a season of 11 WAR.
All right, can I go Tony Gwynn, my favorite of all time?
I don't think he ever did. I don't think he ever did it, but it was done probably more recently than that.
Miguel Cabrera?
That hint. It was not Miguel Cabrera either.
Oh, so cool. Is it an Oriole?
It is not an Oriole, no. But Cal Ripken is one of the 11 guys that did have an 11 WAR season. I think it was in the 90s.
I know Brooks wants to let this marinate, but these names are just coming to my head. What about Christian Yelich?
Christian Yelich is not there. No, he had a couple 9 WAR seasons in a row, but yeah.
Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts was the closest to 11 in the. I will tell you this.
Mookie's the first I wrote down.
In the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, the closest to 11, I think Mookie Betts in his crazy Red Sox year in 2018 had a 10.8 WAR. Didn't quite get to 11.
It's got to be Shohei, right? Since he great pitcher and great hitter, or no?
It's not Shohei. No, I'll tell you, it goes back to the early 2000s.
In what?
The 2000s?
Early 2000s. Early 2000s.
Justin Pedroia would be out.
Bonds?
Yeah, it was Barry Bonds.
Really? That seemed too obvious.
He did it 2 years in a row in 01 and 02. Yeah, he did it 2 years in a row in 01 and 02. If you look at the all-time WAR leaders in a single season, Babe Ruth is the top 3. He had a season where he had 14 WAR, which is just outrageous. But for you guys who don't know, WAR is wins above replacement. So if you replaced that player with the average MLB player at his position, this is how much value he's adding in terms of wins. So if you replace Gunnar Henderson with the most average shortstop in the MLB, as of right now, he has 6.5 WAR. We have 6 more wins because Gunnar Henderson is on our team, as opposed to an average shortstop. This is not a perfect stat, obviously, but it's a pretty good indication of where guys are at. And if you look at the top guys in WAR, it's always the best players in baseball. So,
I got a question since we were just talking about Heston right before Gunnar. Does the way Heston's playing right now, is this making him an untouchable at this point?
I didn't want to say it because I thought we all kind of, we all have the same mind on these things because we're all real close friends. Yes, I mean he's untouchable without doubt.
I think he's on the line. I think if you're gonna give him up, you got to get like a top of the line starter. Like if we're gonna go out and try to get that Crochet dude from the White Sox,
go get Scoble or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if Scoble's gonna be on the table, but
the guys still in our minor leagues, like that we send up and down, like Stowers, stuff like that.
That's the name that comes to my mind. Is Stowers, like right away. I'm looking for Stowers.
We have tradable people, so don't just give away the farm for like a starter because we want to win this year. Like think about the future.
I agree, but to get one of these top guys, it's going to be one of these guys that are either fringe untouchable or untouchable. I mean, I think we have 3 in our pockets that we've talked about over the last couple podcasts between Jackson. We've kind of been flip-flopping with Heston just because, and after another great week, I think he's getting up there in Kobe Mayo. So, I don't think Jackson's going anywhere, obviously. So,
no.
And Kobe Mayo and Heston could be. You could turn Kobe Mayo into an outfielder and still be serviceable as Heston. So, it could come down to that. I hope not.
It could come down to a Ryan Mountcastle.
So I was going to say the same thing. So you also don't have to just clear out your minor league. So you can do like a Stowers, but an Austin Hayes, a Santander, which I love Santander, but they're tradable.
Mm-hmm.
Like we got your kids to come up. Yeah. Like I would hate to get rid of Santander, but Austin Hayes, I think he's tradable. Like once he came back, he's been crushing the ball.
Also, think teams are looking more at player control. Like how many years? So Santander is a free agent after this year. So
like Mateus, he's a great utility guy. He's almost like he's no Brian Flaherty, but
there's no Jeff Rebelay out here.
The greatest utility player of all time. Jeff
Rebelay with the mustache, man.
So Flaherty had a mustache either way.
I agree with you, CB. Like as like a fan, I think that's who that's the route I'd rather go. Is those players? I just don't think those players are going to be willing to make the trade and with just that. I just think, and it sucks because I'd rather. Obviously we'd rather get away with getting rid of these guys who are a little bit older and a little less team control, but I think they value like Brian said, they're going to value the team control. Or I think
a nice center fielder and center bullets.
I'm not opposed.
Go ahead, Brooksy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I'm not opposed to that either.
You're beginning to see a trend in the last 2-3 years. I have no statistical proof of this, but you can just when you read the ticker on ESPN or whatever, the trades now are for younger players who teams have control of. There's no more rentals. Like you don't get that Aroldis Chapman deal to the Cubs, then he immediately goes back to the Yankees the next year. You're just not seeing that much anymore.
Definitely not as much. Still happens, but not as much as it used to.
Yeah. Like for example, the Rangers rented Montgomery last year, and he was great for them down the stretch. Actually, one of the reasons they were able to be so successful in the playoffs. But those trades, like Brian said, are definitely fewer and far between.
Yeah, I mean, the last rental I remember the Orioles.
Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller. And Andrew Miller was the last rental I remember the Orioles getting.
I don't think I ever saw Andrew Miller give up a run for the Orioles. God, that guy was good.
And he had great lettuce. I mean, great hair just coming out, man. It's all over the place.
Oh man, when we had him and Britton back to back, I just never thought we were going to lose.
Yeah, you
could turn the TV off. You're like, we won. It's over.
Yeah, I mean, it felt that way with Cano and Felix last year too. I was so upset. I was a bigger Andrew Miller fan than Britton. I wanted to pay him. That's the one. But I mean, with the previous ownership, we're not paying anybody. So
that was that fucking Dan Duquette year when he was getting swooned by the Blue Jays. Oh,
yeah, that's right. Because he was. Yeah, that was such a. I'm surprised. How did Toronto not get some kind of tampering? Because I mean, that definitely fucked with how he ran our organization for sure.
He didn't. Yeah, he's not going to trade. He's not going to go give away players or sign players if he's going to go in the same division and play against them. We didn't sign Nelson Cruz, who had a good year. Andrew Miller
he played for another 6-7 years, crushing home runs.
That's bullshit.
I think he went to Seattle. I think he went to Seattle or Minnesota after that and hit 40 again.
I think he went Minnesota.
Yeah, and then we didn't sign him, and then as a reaction, everyone was pissed off, and then Trumbo had a great year, and we signed him, and that didn't work out good at all.
That worked out real well. Then he got rid of all the dangerous, delicious pies. He didn't like getting pied in the face by Adam Jones.
Oh,
fucking asshole.
All right, let's keep this on the rails. We're looking ahead.
We don't have to be on the rails, okay?
We got to be. We got to be close to them, though.
Got to be near the rails.
We got to be near the
rails. We're near the rails.
I would assume
we're off tonight.
In the first place.
We're off tonight. Thank God. We've got 3 home games. We got 3 home games for the Cubs, 3 home games for the Yanks, and then we're going into the All-Star break. The Cubs pitchers, starting pitchers, have been announced: Dean Kramer, Corbin Burns, and Albert Suarez. They haven't announced who's going to be pitching against the Yankees yet. I think the Friday start is kind of up in the air right now. I don't know if it'll be maybe Povich or Irvin, because I think Grayrod will pitch the second game in that series. I would imagine they'll give Povich another look before they go to Irvin, because Irvin's been struggling as well. But we'll see. I don't really know. But it's awesome that the Yankees are 5-15 since June 15th. We talked about this a little earlier. We got a 3-game lead in the AL East now.
I got 2 words for you, boys. Do with the Yankees. Go ahead and say them.
Aaron Boone.
As long as Aaron Boone's the manager of the New York Yankees, we have to worry about that.
Yeah, and like CB alluded to earlier, the Red Sox now 9 games above 500. I don't know what in the hell has gotten into this team. Rafi Devers is just tearing the cover off the ball. I watched Sunday Night Baseball last night. He put 2 tanks out on the Yankees.
Yeah, I love it. But then it's like,
shit. Now the Red Sox come.
Right now, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I'm more worried about the Red Sox than the Yankees.
I don't know if I can agree.
I'll disagree there.
Yeah. I am.
Just because the top end talent of the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like they just have this thing about them where they just go to the Bronx and beat the shit out of them, and they're just having a good time, kind of like we do. Yeah. And the Yankees just look depleted, where they're just like they hit a home run and Aaron Judge is yelling at Verdugo. He's like, you slap your hands too hard and you go like this and you hit me in the chest. And they're like bitching and complaining about hitting a home run. That's it's a real thing. I just feel like the morale for the Yankees is gone. I don't see anybody really going to catch us, and definitely not going to be the Yankees.
Knock on wood.
Alex Verdugo, by the way, one of the most punchable faces in sports right now. I can't stand that guy. Absolutely hate that guy. Anyway,
I've never liked him. Didn't like him.
Yeah, we'll move. Can you imagine if the Red Sox had, guys like Mookie Betts or Xander Bogaerts or Chris Sale, if they wanted to pay those guys? God, they would be so good.
Really.
So glad they don't. So glad the Fenway Sports Group is a bunch of clowns. Yeah, so we've got our all-star teams. We've got the rosters. Obviously, there's going to be a little bit of changing with people dropping out due to injury and other life stuff. I wanted to mention Mookie Betts is making his 8th straight all-star game. This is obviously not including the 2020 all-star game that didn't happen. Freddie Freeman, his 6th straight, 8 total. Also, and in that 2020 season where he didn't make the all-star team because there wasn't one, he won the MVP. So that would be probably more like 7 or 8 straight for him. Orioles only all-stars, Corbin Burns, Adley, and Gunnar. We think it sounds like Corbin Burns is probably not going to be going to Arlington because his wife just had twins last week. And that's going to be a lot. If he gets a couple days off in the middle of the summer, I don't blame him if he wants to go home and take care of his family. Don't blame him at all for that. Brian's got something to say.
Do we think if Corbin Burns opts out, which I think most people are assuming this, do we think Grayson Rodriguez gets that spot? Not because it's an Oriole, but because I feel like he might just legitimately be the next man up that they can get in.
I would think so, but who the fuck knows at this point after the Kimbrel stuff?
Yeah, it's him or George Kirby, I think. We saw George Kirby for the Mariners last week, and I have in the biggest snubs from around the league. George Kirby in 19 starts this year has pitched 111 innings and has only walked 11 batters.
Jesus.
He has a 3.39 ERA and a 1.00 WHIP, and he's not an all-star. I think that's insane. That dude is a stud.
Okay, he gets it over. He gets it.
He wins.
I mean, 11 strikeouts through half a season is like Greg Maddux stuff. Like
11 walks. Yeah, 11 walks. You win. All right, Grayson, sit down, buddy. All right,
take a break.
Well, I think we were talking about it earlier. Brian said our bullpen needs to start getting ahead in counts more. We need to start watching some George Kirby tape.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have the list of the all-star starters and reserves here. Is there anything that jumps out at you other than the couple Orioles that were left off? And we'll talk about Mountcastle, Westberg, O'Hearn, I already said Mountcastle. Santander, with 13 home runs in June, making a late push. Anything jump out at you?
Got to be because his average is low.
Yeah.
I think between O'Hearn and Mountcastle is like they kind of switch back and forth. So it's like they don't get as many at bats just because like Mountcastle had that little injury. So O'Hearn played great. If one of the two had to be selected to the All-Star game, I would go O'Hearn all day.
When I look at both rosters, National League, American League, realistically, I understand why some of these guys are snubs because of the stupid rule Major League Baseball has where every team has to be represented. So you got to throw some guys in there. And look, we were the armpit of the league for a very long time. I think like George Sherrill was a random all-star.
Ty Wigington made it with like a 240 batting average one year.
Ty Wigington. That's what I was thinking. I get why they're snubs, and so I'm not even mad about it because you can't remove some of these names that don't deserve to be there because of the rule Major League Baseball has.
But I feel like it's the All-Star game. If you're an All-Star, you should make the game. And I get it. Like, kind of want to have everybody like your jersey, but then it's like a Ty Wigington. Like, really?
Yeah.
This is embarrassing.
It's remembered not fondly. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Yeah.
There was a couple games that and I was thinking about this yesterday too, from what Brian said about. How many All-Star games did Dustin and I go to where there was Orioles there that shouldn't have been there? And there was. It was really a bunch of games where the Orioles and honestly Pittsburgh. There's. You just didn't know who the player was from either team. If you weren't an Orioles fan, obviously.
Like Jason Kendall.
Well, we all know who
Jason Kendall was a good player. Look at his baseball reference page.
For the All-Star?
Yeah. But there was just, there was games that Dustin and I went to, I would say maybe more than one, where we had a player in the game that didn't even play because he just, there was just better other people.
That's why when we did the draft about most punchable sports figures, I put Cito Gaston on there because he was the manager of that All-Star game when he didn't put Mike Mussina in Baltimore.
That was bullshit.
What?
That
Hey, he's
people forget that.
Some people never forget.
Jumps out to me, name that jumps out to me, Kirby Yates. Did not know he was still playing baseball. That dude was a stud for the Padres like 8 years ago, and somehow was an all-star again for Texas. I had no idea he was still playing baseball, and I watch a lot of baseball. So good for Kirby Yates for rejuvenating his career in Texas. I think it's complete bullshit that Marcus Semion's in over Westberg. If you look at their numbers side by side, same thing we talked about earlier with Kimbrel and Clay Holmes. It's not even close, and you can't even make the argument that it's because Semion's a second baseman, because Westberg has played several games at second base again this year, and he can play all over the infield. His numbers are just better. He's got a 139 OPS and OPS plus. And if you don't know what OPS plus is, it takes all the OPSs around the league. So the average on base percentage plus slugging, which is a big number that is used in baseball statistical analysis these days. And it averages them. So 100 is the league average hitter. So Westberg having a 139 OPS plus means that he is 39% better than an average hitter in baseball. Marcus Semion's OPS plus is 90. So he is 10% lower than an average hitter in baseball this year. So that doesn't make sense to me. That's not right. And I understand the game's in Arlington and you want to have more Texas guys in it, but it's not fair. When we look back on this in 30, 40 years and you look at Westberg, you'd be like, he never made an all-star team or something like that, or he only made 3 all-star teams. This stuff matters in the long run, and it fucking pisses me off.
And some of these guys have escalators in their fucking contracts to make all-star games. Yeah. And that's bullshit. The name that I want to talk about, as CB uses the restroom here, who do we think starts the game pitching wise? I know we talked about Burns and Scoble. Is it Scoble? Am I saying that right? Scoble? Whatever. It seems like Scoble's going to get it. Do we think Paul Skeens is going to start for the National League?
Let me pull it up. See who else we got right now.
I don't know, man. I think Ranger Suarez should start for the National League. He's been fucking lights out all year.
I would say probably Zach Wheeler, but
I mean, if we're going,
pitcher, but I don't think he's having the best season.
the best season right now, Rangers got Wheeler by a little bit. So I would say probably Ranger Suarez. I think it'd be cool to see. Man, it would be cool to see Skeens. I think it's cool that he just made the All-Star team. We should just be happy about that, really.
He's on for like 8 games, and he's made the
All-Star. Played 10 games.
I'm looking at, which is jumping off the page to me right now, and Houston should be upset about this. How did Houston's Ronel Blanco not make the All-Star team?
Didn't he throw a no-hitter earlier this year?
He's 8-3, 2.53, 16 games started. He's got 96 innings. Like I thought maybe the innings would be a little low. His whip is great.
He had a sticky stuff incident, and that might.
There you go. That's it.
I don't care.
I don't care either. I think that shit's stupid. But yeah, I would imagine it's probably going to be Scoble versus one of the Phillies guys in terms of the starting pitchers. But a lot of these guys are going to get innings. The starters don't go more than 2 innings anymore in the All-Star game. So,
by the way, I want to throw something out for the home run derby. Why don't we let them use metal bats just one time? Let's get the kids out of the outfield. All right, get them out of the outfield. Let them use metal bats. They can hit it to another city.
They'll still kill somebody in the lower seats if they yank one down the line.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, like they should have to learn how to catch, because some of these kids like they've never seen a glove before.
Dude,
They've never seen a ball traveling that fast before in their life.
Yeah, there's no way. Brooks and I.
I don't want to make a wish kid out there getting pegged in the head, because this is his way.
You see him like.
Brooks and I were very lucky. Brooks and I were very lucky growing up to be able to go to a lot of home run derbies and all-star games, and we've seen so many of those kids just scrambling in the outfield looking like they have no idea what they're doing and just made fun of them from the stands the whole time. But also super jealous because they got to be on the field during the home run derby and I didn't. But yeah, it's I think the American League team, in terms of the starters, I think the American League team is a little bit better than the National League team. But obviously, it's a baseball game, and all these guys are talented as shit. Shout out to Severna Park's finest, Jackson Merrill. Severna Park High's Jackson Merrill, who's a rookie and made the All-Star team for the Padres. Padres have 3 outfielders in the All-Star game, by the way. Crazy.
It's funny because the Astros aren't that great this year, but they have a couple All-Stars. And I just want to make a comment. Good for the Kansas City Royals. I mean, they got a number of All-Stars. They're having a great season. They're the Orioles of last year to me, and it makes me happy because smaller market teams seem to be doing a little bit better than the major market.
I said the same thing about Cincinnati. Cincinnati reminded me of us last year, where they're young and they all kind of grew up in the same minor league system, and
they're all friends.
And that's how you win multiple championships. Like not buying everybody like the Dodgers and the Yankees, and even like the Padres. If you look at they all wanted to be the superstar. So not everybody's gonna be your superstar, but like a team like the Orioles or Cincinnati, the Royals, they all grew up together. Like, I don't care. You show up today.
You show up today.
I don't feel like doing it today. So
speaking of, I just had a random player just pop in my head. What happened to Will Myers? Speaking of the Padres, I know he left and went somewhere. Is he done?
I have no idea.
No clue, actually. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Well, he hasn't been there for a couple of years, but after his contract was over, I thought
about that. Will Myers with one L, by the way, Myers.
I can't. Yeah, that's why he's out of the league.
Let me see here.
For the Reds last year.
Yeah. He must.
And now he's probably selling used cars. I have no idea. He's not in the league.
Nope. I don't see it either. I don't see anything either.
All right, you want to move on to golf?
My internet's been up.
Oh, he had kidney stones. That's why he doesn't play baseball anymore.
Are we losing Dustin? I think
we lost Dustin. In the meantime, we're going to move on to golf. There you are. You're back, buddy.
I'm here. I bet my internet is having fun right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we talked about some stubs already, so we'll go through these pretty quickly. I think Grayson, Westberg, and Kimbrell are all having all-star caliber seasons. I think they all could have been on the team. I think Tony Taters, I think O'Hearn and Mountie have arguments. I think CB's point was great earlier, where they kind of platoon O'Hearn and Mountcastle, so neither of them get the shine that they deserve because they're both very good players, but they don't get quite the amount of at-bats as other guys, so they don't have the counting stats maybe that the other guys have. One other name that I wanted to mention, former Oriole great, South Carolina great too, Christian Walker has 22 homers, 64 RBIs, 141 OPS plus, hitting 268 this year. He's got Big Meat Pete in front of him, who's hitting like 220 this year. That's also not fair, but I know the MLB wanted Pete Alonso in the home run derby again, so maybe this was just kind of an excuse. And also, Big Meat Pete is going to be going for his 3rd derby. The only person who has 3 derby wins is Ken Griffey Jr., Brooks' favorite player of all time. So that would be cool to watch. He kills it in the home run derby, so he's fun to watch. But sucks for Christian Walker.
It sucks for Christian Walker. I'm going back to that smaller market, major market. He plays for the Mets, so they're going to want views, they're going to want eyeballs, they're going to want TV ratings because that's what pays these bills nowadays.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, that
Anything
was,
else on baseball?
I think that was just their one player too. So.
Oh yeah, that might be true.
Oh yeah.
I don't. The Mets aren't having a great season, so I don't know if they have any other guys that made a team.
No, I'm looking at
Yeah.
it
Do you
now.
guys have anything else on baseball or anything in general? Before we move on to golf, real quick.
Do we want to do That's a Shame now?
Sorry.
No, because
okay.
we just talked about one of my That's the Shame, so now I got to think of another one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Snubs was kind of my That's a Shame too. We'll get back to that. I can come up with something else before the end of the pod.
Yeah, mine is
golf.
completely not related.
Golf. Multiple news outlets reporting just a couple hours ago that Tiger Woods has turned down the opportunity to become the Ryder Cup captain for the U.S. at Bethpage in 2025. I guess he made this made the PGA officials aware of this a couple months ago, but it's just coming into our lives now, our news cycle now. SI's Bob Herrig, who's a pretty well-respected journalist, has indicated that Keegan Bradley will be the captain. He'll be the youngest captain since Arnold Palmer in like 1960 something. Yahoo Sports is speculating that it might be Stuart Sink, so we'll see. There's an announcement tomorrow. I just thought that was interesting that Tiger would turn it down. The 2025 Ryder Cup will be at Bethpage in New York, which is notoriously one of the hardest courses in the world. So we'll see.
It actually has a sign that says only experienced golfers should play this course. Two things. One, and it's a question for the group. Why do we think Tiger turned it down? Two, good for Keegan Bradley because he got snubbed last year. So we were talking about all-star snubs earlier. He got snubbed last year, or was it 2 years ago for the Ryder Cup? Good for him.
Last year,
I think Tiger has actually come out and said that that he doesn't feel like he's a good captain in terms of like picking the team and stuff. I don't know if that's true or not. I could be making that up. I feel like that's something I heard.
Maybe Tiger's just tired of losing.
I imagine he's going to be around in some capacity, but maybe he just doesn't want to undertake that whole thing just because he's not able to move as well. He's not able to go as many places. And plus he wants to hang out with Charlie as much as possible and be at his events. So just more time for him and Charlie to hang out. I would guess that's probably why. And that's what he'll say in the media at least, but I don't know exactly.
I'll give you the Charlie thing. I'm not taking the mobility thing because last time I checked, all these fucking courses have fucking golf carts and they can roll around them. So he can ride on the back of a damn golf cart and get around. Now, I'll also say this. We talk about this with football from time to time. Some people are meant to be coordinators. Some people are meant to be head coaches. Maybe he just doesn't feel like he's a good manager. And that's fine and that's fair. And I would appreciate that if he just came out and said, look, I don't think I'm suited for this role. Perfect.
I think the perfect guy would be Matt Kuchar.
Huge.
I think he'd be awesome because he's well respected and he knows the game so well. And I think Matt Kuchar would be the fucking best.
And after the flub of last year, I mean, we need a good leader.
I mean, if anybody wants to be a baby face right now, and come out smelling like roses, take this because you can't do anything worse than Zach Johnson did last year. So,
you always want to be the guy that follows the guy, right? And this guy shit himself all over the place.
Yeah, for sure.
You're gonna win regardless.
This week in golf, we got the Scottish Open. Last year, Rory McIlroy won this tournament. He had a crazy 2-iron and like 40-mile-an-hour winds to like 10 feet and made the putt to win the tournament over Robert McIntyre, left-handed Scotsman who was trying to win his home country's Open. Rory hasn't competed in a golf event, a PGA Tour event, since his mishap at the U.S. Open. We'll call it a mishap, which was in mid-June, so almost a month ago now. Do you guys expect him to come out and play well? What do you think he's going to say in the media? What are you guys expecting out of Rory?
let Brooks start with this one.
I'm not expecting shit out of Rory. I'm expecting same old Rory. If he's either not going to be in it or he's going to be in it and fucking choke until he does something otherwise. That's what I'm expecting.
He'll start off so hot.
Play great the first round, or play great the first 1 or 2 rounds. That's for sure.
I think Rory really cherishes this. He's talked about how much he enjoys the Scottish Open. Also, it's a great warm up for the Open Championship. So I think he's actually going to play well. I'm not trying to be devil's advocate here. I think he's going to play well.
Yeah, I think just growing up over there and playing in these kind of events gives you a huge advantage because the courses are so different, the conditions are so different. So I think any of those guys, when we go into our Open Championship analysis next week, we'll talk about guys like Tommy Fleetwood and Tyrrell Hatton, guys who grew up overseas and always seem to play well in these kind of events. So yeah, I think he does have a distinct advantage in that, and also he's the defending champion. He's probably embarrassed about the U.S. Open, so I'm imagining he's been working on his game. I don't think he's going to come out here and lay an egg. I also don't think he's going to come out here and win this tournament, though. I think this is just kind of going to be a tune-up, try to get ready for the major.
Everybody has
make a statement.
You got.
Well, I mean, I haven't looked at odds yet. Dustin's going to probably pull the odds up next week. So this is the Open Championship, the one major where it doesn't matter how fucking old you are, you have a chance to win. I remember Tom Watson almost won it like 6 or 7 years ago, and he was like 65. I'm making up an age, but I mean, hell, I can't remember the other guy who won it one time. He was so old. It doesn't matter. If you know the conditions, if you hit low line stingers because of the wind, you can win this damn tournament. And it's all links courses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no idea in this one. I mean, it's. I feel like every year it's a surprise.
Yeah.
So
wasn't a surprise to me last year. Brian Harmon's my dude, by the way. Thanks for the $3,000.
You heard it here first. I'm picking Tony Finau to win it.
I would take Fleetwood. I like Fleetwood.
I hope he does. I'll be rooting for him. That's for sure.
If Ricky changes his name to Rick Fowler, then I'll take Ricky Fowler. All right, I'll take Rick Fowler. Dick Fowler.
What about? Would you take Richard?
I'll take Richard. I'll take Richard Fowler.
Just a quick little note about the Scottish Open. Tommy Fleetwood's 20-1 to win. Tom Kim's 25-1 to win. Both of them have 2 straight top 6 finishes at this tournament. And Max Homa has 2 straight top 20s in this tournament, and he's 50-1 to win. If you want to parlay a top 30 parlay for those 3 guys, Fleetwood, Tom Kim, and Max Homa, all to top 30, that's 5-1. So
Homa's going to win
$20 on that.
here.
You can win $100. And Homa's one of the best golfers in the world. He's having a rough season. He's having an up and down season, but he's too talented to not win.
He's going to win a major next year, or this one. He's going to win one without a doubt.
I don't think this. I mean, I think he will as well, but I mean, he just has not been playing well this year.
Not been great this year.
It hasn't even been like inconsistent. It's just been not great. So
yeah. Looking forward to the Open Championship next week. It's at Royal Troon, which is in Scotland. It's the 10th time they've hosted it at Royal Troon. Most recently in 2016, it was won by Henrik Stenson. Henrik Stenson was 20 under. Phil Mickelson was 17 under as the runner-up, and nobody else cleared 7 under par. So those 2 dudes were in a two-man battle for this tournament. The last time it was hosted at this golf course. But we'll see. Obviously, neither of those guys are going to be competing to win the tournament this year unless Phil pulls off some sort of crazy miracle like he did in the PGA a couple years ago. But I just don't see that happening.
If I remember correctly, and we can look it up, I'm sure, I don't think Henrik Stenson in the 4th round for Sunday missed a green the entire round, which is stunning. He was just throwing lawn darts.
He probably didn't hit a driver either because he's famously used the same 3-wood for like the last 20 years because he's in love with it. He probably just hit that 3-wood every freaking shot, which is what I would do. Okay, going into some depressing news.
Well, before we do
Before we do this, Brian's got something.
Before we do that, I want to do my That's a Shame. Sorry, didn't get you. ESPN. Stop covering fucking Bronny James so fucking much. It's ridiculous. He scored 4 points in a summer league game, and it was the #1 clickbait piece of shit you have on your fucking app. Who gives a shit? It's baseball season. No one gives a fuck about the Lakers or your fucking stupid summer league out in Vegas. He scored 4 points. He's not a good player. He shouldn't have got a 4-year guaranteed deal as a second-round pick, because all those other second-round picks don't get guaranteed deals. You got it because of your fucking dad. It's pure nepotism. It's all it is.
He also already has more jersey sales than LeBron ever had.
It's stupid.
Just throw me a shot.
It's just it pisses me off because there's so many other good things going on in sports, and we're focused on. And look, it's not Bronny James' fault. It's the media's fault. ESPN, you should be ashamed of yourself. I mean, during the NBA Finals, Game 1, you talked about what the Lakers would do. They were out of the playoffs.
They do all the time.
It's what you need to do. Clickbait. Like, you want to talk about Dak Prescott during the NBA Finals? Like, come on.
Well, they did that years ago when Tiger Woods said he was going to go to the Masters for the first time in years. And then it was like 2 days before opening day for baseball. And all they talked about was how LeBron James didn't make the playoffs. Like, who gives a shit?
Who cares?
Like, talk about what good sports. Like,
Sports
nobody
media.
gives a shit about LeBron James. He's overrated and he's a fucking pussy.
Yes. So my That's a Shame is ESPN's coverage of the Bronny James situation. And once again, it's not Bronny James' fault. It's the media's fault. And they just want clickbait bullshit. Because now being louder makes you more important and right. And that's not actually the case.
I hate it. I hate watching ESPN and all they talk about is LeBron James and his son and this and that. I'm like, I don't care. Like, there's so many good highlights of baseball or golf or WNBA.
Hockey.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't care about LeBron James.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want to get before we go to the depressing news, which is a tragedy. I just wanted to get that out of there. So
yeah, every ESPN, you're gonna get Lakers, you're gonna get the Cowboys, you're gonna get LeBron. Might even get a LeBron versus Jordan argument every single freaking time. So,
and before we move on to this, I found this out today on the basketball topic. Just because that was my That's a Shame. You see, the Celtics owners are selling the Celtics.
Really? Yeah.
After winning the title,
value's never been higher.
Sell high, dude. So yeah, it's just the majority. It's just the majority owners.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the majority stake, and I think they bought it for like less than 500 million, something like 20, 25 years ago, and they can sell it. They can cash out now after they just won the title. Apparently, they're going to be fielding offers for probably the next couple of years, and it's going to be a long process because obviously there's probably not that many people in the world that have $5 billion. And also all the people that have $5 billion probably know each other. So I'm sure like they're in rooms all the time at those weird Bilderberg meetings they have. I don't know. Also Dan Hurley got a extension at UConn just before we started this pod. 6 years, $50 million. His offer from the Lakers was 6 years, $70 million. So that's a shame. He just lost $20 million, Dan Hurley.
Not really.
Well, not making fun of his wife, but it was all based on his wife. His wife did not want to move out west.
I mean, if you think about it as well, like he's probably pretty similar in terms of the take-home money anyway from going to California. I mean, just automatically cut his paycheck in half if you go to California.
Yeah.
Does Connecticut have state tax?
That's a good point.
Yeah, they do. And it's pretty high as well, but it's not anywhere close to California.
Yeah,
other news. I'm not sure. I don't know if you saw this or not, Dustin, but the Orioles just hired or promoted, I guess, the president of baseball operations, Katie Greggs. I guess the first female to be the president of baseball operations. So That's pretty cool. I
We
think
should
that
be
happened.
friends already.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Good for
Yeah.
Good for Katie.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's awesome.
Yep. I think
Cool.
it said, I'm trying to find, I just scrolled through it, but I think it said that she's the first female president of baseball operations. So good for her. Congrats.
Congrats.
All right, let's go to the
um,
news. Get this out of the way because it really stinks.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings 4th round draft pick, rookie cornerback Kyrie Jackson, and 2 former college football players. One was a Terp, one played at Florida State and Penn State. Got killed in a 3-car crash that occurred in sometime in the early part of the morning, late night this Saturday. They were all high school teammates. They all went to Wise High School, which is in PG County, so they're local guys. Apparently, there may have been alcohol involved. We don't know exactly what the details are yet, but somebody was trying to change lanes pretty aggressively and ran them off the road. And they ran into some trees on the side of the road, and none of them made it. This sucks. You never want to see anything like this happening. Especially, with the local guys. I don't know what else to say about it, but it sucks. We have to talk about it, obviously, but it's not fun. Anybody got anything on that?
Yeah. It just stinks because forget his athletic prowess and whatever he was going to be, because he was starter or reserve. None of that shit matters. It just kind of blows. Yeah. Maryland talent, Maryland person, and a young man just losing his life. This stinks.
I hate talking about this because I had a family member die from a drunk driver, so I'm not talking about it. So that's pretty much
that's all you got. That's all you got to say. That's all you got to say.
I got nothing to say.
Yeah. And Brooks has dealt with this a lot more than anything else because being a former police officer. But it just stinks. It's sad, and you hate to see someone that had talent and had a bright, a good future ahead of them lose their life, and that stinks. And it doesn't matter if his bright future was a janitor or a cornerback in the NFL. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Anyway, that news is out of the way.
Don't drink and drive.
Prayers up to his family. Don't drink and drive. Yeah, it's no good. And yeah, people can lose their lives. This is a real problem. So
you're not invincible. None of us are invincible.
Yeah, we'll get in now to our stake draft. Let's get the mood back up a little bit. The stake draft today is going to be the best stadiums in the 4 major sports. We mentioned that at the top, but if you're tuned in late or whatever, that's what we're going to do today. This includes obviously baseball, hockey, NBA, and the other sport that I can't remember right now, football. CB is our guest, so he got to pick where he wanted to go in the draft, and he's going to pick 3rd. The rest of our order will be determined by who won last week's draft, and I think Brooks has those numbers.
Yeah, finishing it up now. It looks like Dustin's going to be the winner, but let me finish out this.
As is per usual, I will continue to just dominate these snake drafts.
You can go fuck yourself.
Shit's rigged.
Although, to be honest with you, if I could have lost one, it would have been this one because I'd like to go 4th because I got a couple at the top that I want to pick between, and I'm not sure which to take. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I know this is a hard one. I'm really stuck between 3 at the top, and I think going 3rd was a great strategy from CB here because he gets to just pick the one that nobody else picks. But I'm not sure. We'll see how this goes. Brooks is doing some simple arithmetic right now.
Yeah, Dusty won.
I'd like to start out the draft like I always do. Thank you for the 7 viewers watching right now. Do not vote for me. Go fuck yourselves. I want to lose.
This is my first time. So
Brooks, are you second or is Brian second?
Brian's second. I think I am in last.
Oh, Brooks is pulling up the rear on last week with all of his mayonnaise-based dishes.
That's what killed me.
Too much mayonnaise.
Too much mayonnaise. I should have known.
It's hot. It's hot. It's too hot.
I should have known. And you know what? Mayonnaise is very controversial. It's either you love it or you hate it, I feel like.
It's Duke basketball. It's love or hate.
Maybe you guys just aren't white trash enough to like mayonnaise, but I love mayonnaise.
All right, so I'll kick it off here. I'm really between three stadiums here, and I'm really thinking about going local with this one, but I just don't know if I can.
The four of us, out of the four of us, you need to take the stadium. If you don't, you need to take a week off the podcast. All right.
No.
Okay, I disagree because I think there's really two or three nationally that you have to think about first, and then there's one locally that you have to think about first. I'm just going to take Oriole Park at Camden Yards. It's my favorite stadium in sports. I think it's one of the most influential stadiums in the history of the four major sports.
I think Brian baited you into that.
And that's fine. You can have, Lambeau or MSG, whichever you're going to take.
No, I'm going to go Wrigley.
Okay. I think that's a respectable pick. Wrigley Field for Brian, and CB gets to go third.
That's me.
That'd be you.
You got to go nostalgic, and I'm going to go with San Francisco, Oracle Park.
Wow. Appreciate baseball stadiums. We are baseball guys. Oracle Park, formerly known as AT&T Park, San Francisco.
By the way, when putting these lists together, I didn't write down the names of the stadium because they change so fucking frequently. I don't know what the hell they're called anymore.
I just think it's cool. Yeah. I just think it's cool, like when they hit the ball in the water, watching like Bonds do that. I think it's really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's iconic.
I'm gonna go just to change it up. I can't not take Lambeau. I have to take it.
Yeah, I think that's a very good pick. I don't think you're gonna get any argument there.
And one of my top three, I mean this rivals the Orioles Park. Well, a couple of them do, but PNC Park, Pittsburgh's park. I love their park.
Apparently, number one stadium in baseball.
PNC Park in Pittsburgh. So he gets Lambeau and PNC Park. That's very strong start from the number 4 seed Brooks. CB gets to go again here with his second pick he's going to take.
I'm going to go with the Cardinal Stadium.
Whoa!
Busch Stadium is on my list.
He doesn't like Busch.
That's a good one.
I love it, dude.
Well done, man. Well done.
I can attest. Me and Brooks went to an All-Star game there. That was one of the most electric baseball atmospheres I've ever been in. Those fans are awesome. That place is great.
Apparently, they're like the nicest fans too.
Nicest and some of the most knowledgeable.
Great experience all around in St. Louis.
All right. I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't take Fenway.
Oh, Fenway and Wrigley. That's a pretty strong start there. Fenway Park. He's got the two oldest stadiums in baseball. Okay. Well, I'll take Madison Square Garden. It's the most famous arena in the world. And I can't believe I got it all the way back here because I was considering taking it at number 1. And then after that, I'm going to take formerly Miller Park, now called American Family Field, the Brewer Stadium.
Really?
Absolutely love that place.
How does Miller lose that? Like that's the one ballpark. That's your hometown ballpark. You're the biggest one of the biggest fucking beer distributors. You got to keep that.
Bernie the Brewer.
I know. You need to pay whatever you got to pay to keep your name on that stadium.
$1 Miller Lite.
I'm gonna take the Jerry Dome, Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah. AT&T Stadium, I believe it's called. Yeah, you can call
Yeah.
it Jerry World, whatever you want to call it. I think that's good. That's a good pick. Stadium, Cowboys. And that will bring CB back up to the plate.
I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's a good one.
The Vikings. What is that even?
That's
What's that
one.
place even
And
called?
I'll tell you,
It's like all glass.
and I'll tell you why. It is like, so when you watch a Vikings game, their fans are so into it, and
Oh, that skull thing, right?
yeah, I think it, like, you rewatch it, and I think it's like super cool.
It's funny that you bring up the Viking Stadium, and this is I haven't thought about this in a long time. When they first built the stadium, they had clear windows, and birds were killing themselves because they were flying directly into the window, and they had to like tint the window so that birds would stop doing
I think it's cool.
that.
So I got
Got some suicidal birds.
I think it's cool. That's all I got. I like
Depressed.
I didn't bring up the bird shit.
The same
U.S.
thing
Bank
happened with
Stadium, by the way, is what it's called.
USA. The same thing happened with Boise State's stadium, or they have the blue field. Birds thought it was water, so they were diving into it.
Oh, I remember that.
Oh my god.
I remember.
I kind of
Like
remember
PETA,
that too. That's crazy.
I think PETA went after Boise
Yeah.
State
Yeah,
because the birds were just, they were kamikazing themselves.
I completely forgot about that. I remember that.
I like it.
Oh,
All right.
Uh,
I can't
Oatsy's
believe.
got
all right.
I can't believe
Brooks
these.
gets 2 in a row here.
Can't believe these fell to me because these are also still in my top 3 to 5 MLB parks: Truist Park, Atlanta, and Petco Park, San Diego.
Truist, Atlanta, and Petco in San Diego. Petco was probably going to be my next pick if it made it back. Yeah, that's a strong showing there. Is it Truist Park or Truist Field?
I don't know. I
Atlanta
just had
Race Park.
Yeah,
Oh,
I just had-
it's Globe Life. Globe Life.
no.
Globe
That's the Rangers.
Yeah.
Shit. All right. My bad.
It's true. I just have Truist written down, so I don't know if it's Park or Field.
Yeah, it's Park, I think. Either way. Yeah, CB's back up.
I mean, you got to go M&T. Ravens.
Hell yeah, you do.
I mean,
M&T Bank.
It's very
Back in the
purple.
bank, I like it.
The atmosphere is always great, and it's such a good time anytime you go there. I can't believe nobody.
Yeah.
Like,
I thought about it.
It's hard for me to pick NFL
it's a beautiful
stadiums.
stadium too. So it's not just because I'm Ravens fan and from Baltimore. It's a great stadium, and it's fun to be at, and the food's always great. Same like Cannon Yards, like food's great. So
I'm gonna switch up. I want to go with Hockey Arena. There's only one that really stands out to me, and that's gonna be the Vegas Golden Knights.
Wow. All right. The only hockey
And
arena
it's
that
more-
I had written down was not that.
I'm picking that one because it's more pomp and circumstance that goes on inside of the thing.
Yeah.
That's really why I'm picking it.
Yeah. All right. There's so many ways I can go. I think I have to take the Staples Center. Nobody took the Staples Center. It's now called the Crypto.com Arena, but I'm not writing that down because I don't believe in it.
I think it's
Staples Center is what it's called. It's what it should be always called. It's the
I think it
most,
goes by
like,
the Crypt.
It goes by the crypt now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna finish it out with the Superdome, the Caesar Superdome, formerly the Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans.
That was my next pick.
So yeah, I've been there. We went to a game there last year, 2 years ago, and it was really awesome.
Drew's bachelor party.
Yeah.
I will finish my draft off with Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
that's iconic.
Yeah, that's a good pick. That's a good 5. That's a strong 5 seed.
Like, it's hard for me to pick anything other than baseball.
I mean, with all the like, technology and stuff, you can't go wrong with Vegas Raiders because the
Yeah.
stadium is bad ass.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
going there,
Is that your
Yeah, it's crazy.
Allegiant.
Like,
I think
I
it's
mean, they
called
suck,
Allegiant
but-
Stadium.
Yeah. Like they suck, but like stadium's cool shit. So.
Yeah.
Jay Harkness, if you're watching this, the garden was taken in front of me, buddy. I couldn't say MSG, man. He just texted me.
There's another garden I considered taking, by the way.
Yeah.
Boston,
go ahead,
yeah,
Brooks.
okay.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Brooks
I'm
is,
reading. Don't kill myself.
I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna go with another baseball because football state. Like all the good ones have been taken, right? Like the Vegas Golden Knights. There's maybe one more that I might take, but it's not. I've never been there before, so I don't really know. All right. I'm just gonna go with my favorite All-Star game growing up was at Safeco Field. Now it's called now it's called something else.
T-Mobile
like,
Park, I believe.
Strawberry Tampax Field or something like that. No fucking idea what it's called.
You know what? I'll go.
T-Mobile.
Actually, can I change that? Do I have time to change it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I can't go with all these baseball. Give me Seattle's field just for how loud it is and everything like that.
Oh,
So.
Seahawks.
Seahawks. All right, I like that. That's a good answer. Seahawks.
I haven't been there either, but I know that's one of the loudest stadiums every year. So whatever.
All right, I'll run through the teams and then we'll talk. Yeah, well, I'll run through the teams and then we'll rip off honorable mentions. My team is Oriole Park, Madison Square Garden, Miller Park, Staples Center, and Superdome. Brian's got Wrigley, Fenway, Jerry World, Golden Knights Stadium, and Arrowhead. CB's got Oracle Park, Busch Stadium, the Viking Stadium, the Raven Stadium, M&T Bank, and he's got Allegiant, which is the Raider Stadium. And then Brooks has got Lambeau, PNC Park, Truist Park, Petco Park, and the Seahawks Stadium, whatever it's called. Brian's got some honorable mentions, and then we'll go around and mention a couple.
One that is kind of odd to me, and the only reason I like it is because it has pool. Is the Jacksonville Jaguars Stadium, where they have people are watching a football game in a pool, and then the Diamondback Stadium, where they also have a pool as well.
I hate that stadium.
Yeah.
All right, good talk. Thanks.
I'm just throwing my opinion out there. That's it. I'll give you my honorable mention.
Yeah, go ahead, Brooks.
Obviously Seattle, since I took that back. Love Minute Maid. Love the train out there, and that you can take that glass and the roof off. Target Field, the Twins' new stadium is really nice. I like Phillies Stadium, Citizens Bank. The Falcons, when they have Chick-fil-A and all the cheap beer that they try to keep everything cheap for all the fans there. And the Patriot Stadium with Patriot Place and all that they built up around it and rehab the actual stadium and everything.
I'll tell you which one we're not going to use. Yankee Stadium. Yankee Stadium fucking sucks because we don't like the Yankees. All right, so Jay sucks.
Because I've been there twice.
I've been to Dustin and I both been to Dustin and I were at the old one and the new one. Can vouch both of those suck. And I also don't like Fenway either. But
I've been to Fenway twice. It's cool. It's nostalgic. The old Yankee Stadium was cool because it's nostalgic. But it's still fucking piece of shit. And the new Yankee Stadium is fucking garbage. And I couldn't find a hot dog.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I couldn't find a hot dog. And my friend came down with Chinese food. What? 95 I couldn't find anything else to eat. I was like, nachos, hot dogs. He chews up with chicken. And I'm like, it's not even fucking chopsticks. And this is not, I'm not even kidding. This is a real story. I couldn't find a hot dog. Because my friend got me really good seats. So we're like 5 rows from the field. And I'm sitting there everywhere you go. Like, there are no hot dog vendors, but there's a guy fucking selling Chinese food. I'm like, this is bullshit.
I'm picturing a man eating lo mein.
I was eating compound chicken. It was 90 degrees. If James Hansen's here, Dan Lawrence is on here, like, they know what I'm talking about because they were with me. And it sucked. And also, I was wearing an Orioles. And this Yankee fan, this little Asian guy, asked me what my O stood for in my hat.
Oriental. And
he asked for the Orioles. He's like, oh, Orioles.
Hey,
Like,
what if we went outside the 4 major sports? What would be a pick if we all had one?
Augusta.
Yeah, Augusta. Yeah.
I was going to say the waste management arena they put up around like hole 16 or 17. I know that's awkward, but
no, I mean, I don't think that's terrible. I'm sure there's some super nice soccer stadiums from what I've heard on some podcasts, but I obviously none of us.
I would assume Wembley would probably be there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
One thing I will when all the old stadiums were still, I mean, obviously they are besides Yankee Stadium, like Wrigley I just feel like Wrigley blows those other two out of the water between Fenway and Yankee Stadium.
Yeah.
I mean,
the only other one that I had written down that we didn't mention was Kaufman. They put a lot of money into that before we went to the All-Star game there, and that place is really cool. The fountains in center field are really like unique, and I think that's a pretty cool place. But yeah, Minute Maid, I can't believe Minute Maid didn't go. Yeah, Royal Stadium. Sorry. I can't believe Minute Maid didn't go. I think that's iconic. I wish they still had the big hill in center field. That was awesome.
All right, now I'm going to ask a secondary question. I know we're gonna wrap this up. If everyone got one pick for the worst arena or stadium, I think we all probably have the same one.
The new Yankee Stadium.
Oh, the new Yankee.
I just talked about it. It's fucking garbage.
What's the worst one? I'm going with Trop.
The Trop. It's got to be Trop.
Oakland.
I was gonna say we just played them. It's either the Trop or Oakland. One or the other.
There was an announcer for a baseball team, and it wasn't the Orioles. They said they were doing their broadcast. I don't know if it was radio or TV, and a raccoon or something came out of one of the cabinets behind them. It had burrowed itself, or a possum. It was a possum. A possum came out of one of the cabinets behind them during the live broadcast, and they freaked out.
I've got two other ones to bring up. I mean, the Redskins Stadium when their fucking pipes are bursting and shit's falling on players and stuff like that.
Also, the
and
worst nightmare of a situation to try to get out of.
And I've heard
place there is one road to go out of that stadium, and it sucks.
And I know it's relatively new, but the Marlins Stadium looks like a catastrophe.
It looks like a circus. They have like a fucking fish moving around out there or something.
Heinz Field is garbage. There before. There's just ketchup bottles everywhere.
Like, it's not called Heinz Field anymore. Now it's like,
now it's
there was Heinz Field.
It's like Fleshlight Field or something. I have no idea what it's called.
Dude, I've been saying since they changed it, I can't believe French's didn't take that opportunity and jump in there. They could have called it French's Field.
That'd have been good. Oh, that'd be great.
I think you need to apply for a marketing gig with them.
French's?
Yeah, they missed out.
Yeah, I don't think they need to market. They're pretty much they're pretty good. I think they're going to be.
Well, so is Heinz.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. Well, all right, boys, let's wrap this up. Let's get. I'm gonna get over to see my girlfriend before she goes to work. CB's gotta go see his fiance. This man's getting married, by the way.
Yeah.
Woo!
I mean, if you're watching, I love you.
Congratulations, yeah. Before we sign off, thank you guys for listening and interacting with us. Thank you guys for participating in our giveaways if you did that. We'll have, I think, one more podcast this week. We'll see you then. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Happy birthday, Brian Culata. Thank you, guys. I love you guys. Thank you for always chatting, man.
And thank you for having me this time. Maybe I'll come back.
Yeah.
See you, boys.
We shall see.
Thank you, CB. Thanks for coming on. See you guys.